Some people are called to the pathway of pursuing their desires. It's not going to lead you to an unhappy life. It's just your fulfillment is dependent on external validation, gratification, and results. Otherwise, you're called towards the path of the sage. Hi, beautiful sis. Welcome back to the channel, Soul Awakening with Shantia. Welcome to another podcast episode with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out my previous 2 episodes. In one of them, I talked about vampire energies and fear, us giving our energy to fear and worry, and how that is not serving us, and how we have to understand that's a choice. And then in the previous episode before that, I also talked about, was it why I don't work a job? I think so. I've also just recently uploaded the Saturn and Pisces video. That originally was going to be part 2, but it's taking me a little bit longer to get the clips together for the summary of the Saturn and Pisces energy. I'm going to be discussing why I decided to use a Little Princess and the Count of Monte Cristo to talk about Saturn, or relate it to Saturn and Pisces, is because right now we're being taught a really powerful foundational lesson around Pisces energy. And Saturn is just helping to double down on those messages and that insight that wants to come through. So I just want to prep you guys. As this Saturn transit is nearing, we are being asked to and called to step into the responsibility of tuning in even more. So this is going to be an intense time. And it's a portal, it's a doorway, and it's an opportunity for you to accelerate in your awakening process and your ability to receive truth. Okay, so in today's episode, we're going to be talking about desires, and I have a jumble of concepts that I'm tying in together. So we're going to be talking about desires, the pathway of the sage versus celebrity. And I'm just using that contrast to display and talk about like why it is. I said in my previous episode, I said desires can lead you down a path of destruction. Why did I say that? And that's maybe not necessarily the correct terminology. I think it depends on how you look at it. For some people, desires can lead to destruction. Like if you're addicted to drugs or something, that could lead to a total sabotaging and just a complete blowing up of your life. You can completely blow up your life that way if you choose to go down that pathway. Otherwise, a lot of people pursue desires in terms of, job security or relationships, and it's not as dramatic. So maybe that was a dramatic terminology I used. And so in this video, I wanted to clarify what I'm talking about when I'm referring to desires, and why is it that we're being called to not pursue them. Yet it's like, how do you find that fine line? Because obviously if I get up and I make myself a cup of, chocolate milk, like, isn't that a desire of the sort? Or if I get up to use the bathroom, so we're going to find a way to differentiate it in a fun way. And I'm going to be using Meghan Markle, or Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, as an example. So I took a look at it, or peek at her chart, and I was just kind of watching some videos of her. And I was like, oh, this is fascinating. I also checked out her new show on Netflix, and I was like, oh, this is really cool how all of this is connecting. So I find celebrities fascinating more and more, I guess, as I learn. There's just no one to hate on. There's no reason to hate someone, because we're all just doing what we're designed to do. And I'm going to talk about why Meghan is just doing what she's designed to do, which is essentially seek the path of the celebrity. So what are desires, right? I guess you could define it. The thing is, this is a murky place. And this is the place where you start to question, when you're on your spiritual path, you come to this place, or the crossroads, where you start questioning, should I pursue this desire or this pathway or not? And I found for me personally that pursuing my desires worked against me in a lot of ways, like pursuing the bigger desires of what it is I was seeking. So I think there was a time where I was definitely seeking attention, but I've had stage fright. I'm very shy. I am still. And at first I thought that was a bad thing, because psychology teaches you that shyness is bad. It turns out it's just the way I'm built and hardwired. And I'm always going to be that way. I'm always going to prefer less attention on me. The only time I like attention is when I'm teaching or I'm talking about something I'm passionate about. That's the only time I like attention. Other than that, I don't like attention. I don't even like it when someone calls me randomly calls on me randomly to do something. Like, I don't like it. I prefer for things to be planned, and I want to be prepared to go up in front of people and do something. Other than that, I don't like attention. I don't. I'm like, oh my God, don't mind me. Let me just get on my merry way. I like being invisible. I love it. For me, pursuing desires just didn't work. And honestly, it wasn't meant for me. Doors just didn't open up for me. I tried to pursue becoming an artist. I tried to pursue, building a YouTube channel, and things just didn't grow for me. And part of it is just divine timing. And the thing is, when you find yourself rising into those higher states of consciousness, things aren't going to happen. They're not going to take off because you're on a pathway of ego death. And I just want to clarify this because there's a lot of people who make these videos talking about manifestation. They tell you how you're blocking your manifestation. And I'm here to tell you, you're not blocking your manifestation. Things are just destined to come in when they're destined to come in, and some things are not destined to come in. And the problem with people teaching manifestation in that way is that they're trying to show you how to control your reality. You're actually getting caught up in the matrix of the egoic desires. And so your ego is the thing that's trying to manifest an outcome, and it needs an outcome to be happy. And the thing is, once you get on that train to continuously manifesting along with your desires, and always needing your manifestations to fructify and show up in the physical reality, so long as you continue to need that, your happiness is attached to an outcome. So that's the thing. There's a fine line. As far as manifestation goes, you just get to the point where you realize you don't have to try. Things are going to show up as they want to show up. You can try. And I actually learned from my experience, when I would try really hard to manifest things, they would come in, but they would self-destruct because the timing wouldn't be right. Everything would just be not right when I was trying really hard. And I learned that lesson early on because I realized whenever I was trying hard, I would get things and then something would just self-destruct. I learned when I was just having fun and doing something I was passionate about, maybe there would be an outcome, but my goal wasn't the outcome. My goal was always greater than that. And my goal was always just to have fun and to enjoy the experience, and to be in it. If I was passionate about it, when I was doing the speech contest, I was stepping into this belief in myself that I could be in front of this people and I could let go of my shyness and my stage fright and just speak my mind or speak in a very creative way. And that's what I loved about it. It was about getting past the fear of being in front of people that I was there to conquer. And I wasn't even trying to conquer. I was experiencing a high of expressing myself and doing that. And I loved it. It was, sort of like a dopamine charge of the sort. But once I achieved it, something told me, okay, you did it. Just chill now. Okay. Just lay back. I realized that I kind of peaked in that sense, and I didn't really have any desire to seek anything else because I had done the very thing that I was obsessive about. And I have these placements in my chart where I get fixed on a pathway, I get obsessive, and I just kind of work on things and I go for it. And it's fine. That's the way I'm hardwired. It's just I've learned how to redirect my goals towards knowledge and learning about myself versus trying to achieve some sort of external outcome. So I'm not looking for likes. I'm not looking for a huge following. I actually look just towards sharing insight and then creating videos. That's so fun. Creating videos, passing on the knowledge. I don't really think about, hopefully it resonates with people. I almost have this impulse or this need to share knowledge. I just need to share it. So that's kind of the way I'm hardwired. Okay. So desires. Pursuing your path of desires. Now, when doors close, that's a really good sign that the universe is calling for you to evolve. And they're asking you to evolve past egoic manifestation. So if you stay on that train of egoic manifestation, that will become your entire life. You actually become so drawn into the dream and the hypnotization of your ego, pursuing desires and manifesting things, that's going to become your entire reality. But I will say this, some people are designed that way, and that might be your pathway. You might be a 6th level consciousness manifester, where you're here to continuously pursue your desires. And in a sense, you are becoming conscious. You're making a choice to manifest those things. At that higher level of consciousness, we realize that things are just manifesting naturally, and things are naturally drawn into our experience just based off of our trajectory of life. And we don't have to control it. Things are always going to come in when they need to. And when you completely surrender to it, you get off of the hamster wheel. So that's the thing about egoic manifestations is you're on this path to always caring about things manifesting and outcomes and needing certain numbers and whatever to be happy and to be satisfied. Unless the universe calls for you to evolve higher, you're going to be You can probably happily live in that space. Some people are called to the pathway of pursuing their desires. It's not going to lead you to an unhappy life. It's just your fulfillment is dependent on external validation, gratification, and results. That's it. Otherwise, you're called towards the path of the sage. And so the sage is the one who has all of those doors closed. They don't have all of those manifestations show up. And so the sage is interested in paying attention to their inner world and their inner life and enriching that, connecting to divine, receiving the messages and receiving the knowledge and then passing it on. So the sage doesn't pursue desires necessarily. You have to get into a place of really disciplining yourself with that. I have an impulse to create. Sometimes you're hardwired a certain way and you have to just go with that. What my guides teach me is that we are hardwired a certain way. So just follow your natural path. You might be a type of person who's more of a go-getter and an action taker, or you might be more passive. The life path of a sage is much more passive. It's more receptive and it's more observational. This is where you're taking in reality and the universe is just continuously providing for you. And now the universe is always providing for all of us. It's just the sage has the knowledge and the awareness to know that. They observed it, they saw it, and they exercised it. And the best way you're going to learn about how the universe works is you have to exercise your knowledge. And so when I quit my job, that was me exercising my knowledge. I basically decided, hey, let me put it to the test. Does the universe truly take care of the rest? And yes, it does. And I just keep dropping further and further and further into that depth of knowing the truth. It blows my mind. There's deeper and deeper levels to get to when it comes to this understanding how the universe works. And it's so fascinating. So the sage may have some desires that are met. It doesn't try to seek them. The sage takes a much more passive route in life. So I may have desires come in. Relationships might come in, money might come in for you, whatever. All of these things might just be naturally fulfilled. But because you took more of a passive route, you're understanding that the universe is just bringing these experiences into your life and you're not having to work hard to create it. There's just sort of this nonchalant acceptance of everything. It's like, wow. Or maybe there's just this deep gratitude and appreciation in your heart, knowing that everything that comes on your pathway, God has designed it. And there's something amazing about that. You get a peek into the incredibility of how the universe is architected and how God is just generously providing for us, including lessons, including hard, difficult karmic lessons that we have to learn in our life. God is providing us with all of that. And so your reality of God is absolved of ignorance. You no longer see God as this perfect divine creature. God is maybe more of a hippie, honestly. God is just he, she, they, don't matter. Completely in full acceptance and surrender of all of the chaotic creation that wants to show up in life, and it's incredible. Let me go ahead and use the example of a celebrity. So the celebrity pathway would be a pathway pursuing desire. And Meghan Markle is a really good example of this. So I looked at her chart and I was like, oh, that makes more sense. So Meghan Markle has a strong Gemini influence, and that's her ascendant. She also has Ardra, and I think she's an ascendant Ardra and she's a Mars Ardra. Ardra is ruled by Rahu, and Rahu is all about this illusionary world. It wants to do everything in life. It wants to do it all. And Rahu is also connected to fame as well. A lot of people who have strong Rahu influences seek fame. They seek attention. They want to do everything, be here. And Gemini energy is about imitation. So people found old clips of her where she was pretending to be royalty. And supposedly she said that she didn't know who Prince Harry was, But then you can see these pictures and images where she's imitating Princess Diana by the way that she talks and by the way that she dresses. So Meghan is essentially playing a character. She's been doing this her entire life and she's designed this way. And you might think, well, why is the person imitating life? That's so fake. That's not genuine. That's the way she's programmed. Rahu is programmed to seek desires, without thinking. It just wants to go, 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 go. So supposedly, if I were to put a label on it, she's a younger soul who's just here to experience life. What she probably did is she grew up studying Princess Diana and just loving her. And she probably does a lot of that. She probably studies people and she sees her entire life as a performance, but she's caught in the illusion of thinking that she's the character in the play. It's a totally different level of Maya. Some of us are like, oh yeah, we know we're characters in a play, but no, she absolutely owns it. Like, she owns that she's a character in a play. She doesn't have, I'm willing to bet you, she doesn't think that deep as to why she does what she does. She just feels this obsessive need to do it, this impulse to do it. She's just doing what she's naturally designed to do. So that Gemini imitation, she probably became obsessed with Princess Diana and thought, wow, this is the most beautiful, incredible woman. Everybody loves her. I want to be just like her. The thing with Princess Diana, I also studied her chart. She's a Scorpio ascendant. She's a moon K2 Aquarius, and she's a Rahu Leo in the 10th house. She obviously was destined for fame. She was destined for literal royalty with that Leo energy. Even Meghan Markle, or Duchess of Sussex, she had Venus in Leo, right? Sees her life as a performance. She's naturally talented and gifted. She's also very charming. She has Virgo placements. Asta Nakshatra specifically is a hypnotizing. She knows how to hypnotize people. She comes off as quite beautiful. She's a Cancer Sun, Cancer ascendant, she's a Sun Cancer in 2nd house. With the Cancer, she gives off this energy of mother. She also has her North Node conjunct her Sun. People may say that she has a big ego. I think she does. She has a huge ego. Obviously, if she wouldn't be pursuing that life. And her ego, or her image that she gives off, is charming and mother, right? Very nurturing mother energy, socialite, friendly. What made Princess Diana different and maybe even more authentic in her expression is Princess Diana wasn't looking to imitate anyone. And part of that was because she has, if I were to read the Moon K2 placement as a past life, she has a strong connection to her past life. So she probably was well liked in her past life, a humanitarian with that Moon K2 Aquarius influence. And it's sitting in the 4th house. She gives off this naturally nurturing energy that's not tied to ego. It's completely just for the sake of, wanting to help people. So she would do things that were not in accordance with what a princess would do. Not because she was calculative. She wasn't trying to calculate these moves. With the Scorpio, yeah, she would be a little bit calculative with her image and how she would come off, but in some sense she wasn't calculative. She was just natural, because with that K2 moon, that creates a strong impulse for someone to do things they don't even know why they're doing it. They're just naturally good at things. She was just naturally good at being empathetic and a humanitarian. And she didn't think about, well, let me try to be a humanitarian. She just was that way. And so people deeply connected with her. The Scorpio ascendant energy also made her very magnetic. It drew people to her. It pulled people to her. And she also had like that hidden aspect to her. And her destiny was to develop power with that Scorpio energy. She was here to learn power. Even with that Rahu 10th house in Leo, power. Her destiny was power. So whereas Meghan Markle is playing a character in her play where she gets to play the princess, she insists on being called Sussex. She wants to be the princess. She did it to be like Princess Diana. She wanted the title because to her, this title is everything that she's been seeking. I also wanted to clarify that Meghan's goal wasn't just to gain the title. It was to imitate Diana. So she became royal, and then she ditched royalty, just like Diana. So she was trying to recreate the whole story so that she could become an unforgettable icon like Diana. Whereas Princess Diana wanted attention, but at some point, it became bigger than herself. Like she was an old soul that was called to come here and comfort people, right? With that Moon K2 Aquarius in the 4th house, she was here to be a humanitarian and love people. And so that's why people see her as the Queen of Hearts, which she is the Queen of Hearts because she's a Scorpio ascendant. So do you see her? And she's a moon in the 4th house. The energies are similar, but yet different and communicated in a very different way. Meghan is literally playing a character and is intentionally trying to come off a certain way, whereas Princess Diana was just naturally charming. She was naturally charming. She knew she had charms and people liked her and whatnot. But by the end of the day, some part of her didn't really care about it. With that Moon K2, it's like, I don't care what people think about me. I'm just doing what I want to do. And that's why she couldn't be a princess forever, because that individuation was just too strong. So what I'm telling you this story for or why I'm explaining this is to paint the picture of helping you to understand that we are designed a certain way. Some people around you in your life that maybe you're hoping to heal and work through their trauma are never going to heal. They're never going to heal. And they're never going to understand perhaps the path you're on when it comes to you being linked so closely to spirituality or you being called towards the path of a sage. They're not designed to. They're designed to run the way that they are. So that's why when we try to change people, they resist, because we're not here to change people. We're here to inspire people who feel drawn to our inspiration. We're here to help people who feel called to our assistance. But we're not here to forcibly change anyone. And that's why acceptance is so important. And acceptance of this reality is important. This world is not here to be perfect. People still don't understand, like, God designed the world this way. Oh, humans were so destructive. God designed the world this way. God designed us to be destructive, self-destructive. You have to understand the definition of God is beyond. God is the most unconditionally loving force. Like it doesn't judge anyone because it designed all of us. It designed destruction, evil, pain, trauma, tragedy. And it designed glory, inspiration, love, kindness, and compassion. It designed us all. We are made exactly the way we're meant to be. So if you're called towards the path of the sage, go ahead. But by the end of the day, you're just here to be you. And this is what we're evolving to understand. You don't have to master meditation or all of these ideas of what you think spirituality is to be close with God. God designed you the way that you are. When I thought about it, why were the sages so intense back in the day, right? Versus now we're more mellowed out, or more neutral in our expression and our experiences. And that's because they needed to be. They needed to be to create balance. They needed to be. You had to have someone who was so radically committed and devoted to spirituality, who meditated all day, in order for them to connect with the divine and to understand what they were. But we're at this point right now in life where we're evolving to understand that this is the way that we were designed. And so there's really no reason to be up in arms about, that's the pathway of the sage. The pathway of the sage is peace. And so at some point you just start to see this is the way the world is. And this is the way that you are. You have certain impulses. I have certain tendencies or impulses that I feel like are just immature sometimes. I'm like, why did I react that way? Why am I so passionate? But I have to think about it. If I wasn't a passionate person, I wouldn't create videos like this. So I get passionate about things, but I'm like, if I wasn't a passionate person, I would not create videos like this. I wouldn't feel the need to connect with people in this way. This is the way I'm designed. So think about that. How are you designed? If you're interested in me talking more about astrology, to helping you to understand, I study Vedic astrology. If you want to understand your design, then I can help you with that. And I'll be happy to help you learn. That's why I studied my chart, because I wanted to know about myself. And, I've also heard this discussion where people say that we're so self-centered these days, right? We're so self-centered. Get curious about, why are we so self-centered? Personally for me, I've always felt quite self-centered. My self-centeredness drew me to wanting to help myself and help others. So it's like, we slap labels on things. Even we don't understand ourselves. It's like God made you perfect the way that you are. God designed you exactly like this. So it's more about getting curious about your design versus thinking and punishing and shaming yourself for thinking and being a certain way. If I wasn't a protester to some degree, or like very outspoken, I wouldn't create videos like this, right? So it's like, I need that quality. And sometimes that quality serves me and sometimes it works against me. And I have to find that balance with myself. So we have qualities that are strengths that can be our weaknesses. And the thing is, that's just the way that God designed you. Your strengths are at times going to be weaknesses because you got too much. You got too much fire in your chart. You got too much air in your chart. But you're designed this way. So look at the world, look at the changes that we're going through right now and get more curious about, hey, what the heck is going on? What's going on in this world? What is God trying to say? Like, what is God trying to communicate to us? I wonder. right? And I always like to sit back and be like, oh, what's going to happen? I knew this year was going to be interesting just based off of the readings I was picking up. But when I started to see it unfold, I'm sipping my tea like, oh, this is interesting. The way things are unfolding politically, it's fascinating because you're just seeing God's design unfold. So I'm more interested in enjoying it. And you can enjoy your life experiences too. And, whatever upheavals you're going through, they start to temper out because, I don't know, I think the pathway of the sage sometimes is it's like you're passionate about serving humanity and helping people to feel safe and protected. And sometimes you feel upset at the darkness in this world, and you're meant to because you're on the path of light. And you have so much light that, yeah, the darkness is going to upset you at times. You're just going to get like, ugh. And it's actually just going to trigger your darkness, which is interesting how that works, right? It's like it's just triggering you. And that's what I find so fascinating about social media is that people want to claim that their perspective is right. Like, oh, I'm better. I have the better answer to things. I'm better than you. But by doing that, they just put themselves at a lower level. They lowered themselves to do that. To criticize someone, to demean someone, like you just lost all of your power by doing that, by criticizing them. You thought you were being a bigger person by criticizing that person, but you just lowered yourself. So I just find it fascinating because I know we all have those tendencies. We all want to be like, well, I know better. So by the end of the day, the sage and the celebrity are equal in God's eyes. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. We equal, okay? Nobody's special. The sage and the celebrity are equal, and we just can't get past that. We're always pitting other people against each other, and that's amazing. That's amazing. That's something I'm going to have to watch out. I'm going to be entertained for the rest of my life at having to work on this for myself. It's interesting, right? Okay. So desires aren't bad. Just know that they're programmed a certain way in your chart. And if you're programmed for that 7th level of consciousness and being the sage, you're not really going to be called to pursue desires. And the less you pursue them, the less interested you become in them. Life starts to feel a lot more peaceful for you because you're just like, oh, okay, life is just unfolding. This is fascinating. People, oh my gosh, have just been showing up for me these past couple years, and when I take a minute to reflect on it, I'm like, God is amazing. Okay, God is amazing. I didn't ask these people for that. And I don't think I'm this great person. Like, I am so deserving of everyone's support. I'm just like everybody else. But when I see people helping me, I'm like, who am I to deserve this? This is incredible. Thank you. All right, best of luck in your life, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast, and I will see you for another episode. Bye. Dare to be, dare to believe, do your healing in your creation.